Ismail Haniyeh, a name synonymous with Palestinian resistance, a beacon of hope for many, a symbol of defiance against Israeli occupation. As the political leader of Hamas, he carried the weight of a nation's aspirations on his shoulders. His journey from Gaza's crowded streets to the halls of power mirrored the Palestinian struggle itself, a relentless pursuit of self-determination. Haniyeh, a pragmatic leader, walked a tightrope between diplomacy and armed resistance. His priority? To secure the liberation of his people. His commitment to this cause was unwavering, his resolve hardened by years of conflict and negotiation. For Israel, he was a formidable adversary, a constant reminder of their unresolved conflict. For his followers, he represented the unyielding spirit of Palestine. The streets of Tehran bustled with life, filled with the sounds of honking cars, chattering pedestrians, and the occasional street performer. People went about their daily routines, completely oblivious to the impending chaos that was about to unfold. The air, thick with the scent of spices and gasoline, hummed with the rhythmic chants of street vendors, each trying to outdo the other in attracting customers. Underneath this veneer of normalcy, a sinister plot was brewing, hidden from the eyes of the unsuspecting public. In a dimly lit room, a high-level meeting was underway, shrouded in secrecy and tension. Key figures from Hamas were present, their faces stern and focused, each one aware of the gravity of the situation. The objective was clear: to strategize, to plan the next move in their tireless struggle, a struggle that had consumed their lives and defined their existence. Among them sat Haniyeh, his face illuminated by the dim glow of a laptop screen, his eyes scanning the data intently. Suddenly, the world erupted in chaos. A deafening explosion ripped through the air, shaking the very foundations of the building, sending shockwaves that could be felt miles away. Glass shattered into a million pieces, walls crumbled like sandcastles, and a thick cloud of dust engulfed everything, turning day into night. The meeting room, once a sanctuary for strategic planning, was now a scene of unimaginable carnage, with debris scattered everywhere and the air thick with the acrid smell of destruction. News of the assassination spread like wildfire. From the bustling newsrooms of CNN to the quiet corners of homes worldwide, the name Ismail Haniyeh dominated every conversation. Disbelief, outrage, fear. The assassination sent shockwaves through the international community, shaking the fragile geopolitical landscape. World leaders scrambled to respond, their carefully crafted statements tinged with urgency and condemnation. The United Nations convened an emergency session, the air thick with tension and the specter of escalation. The attack, a brazen act of violence, violated international law and threatened to ignite a region already teetering on the brink. The world watched, holding its breath, bracing for the aftershocks. Fear. It hung heavy in the air, a suffocating blanket of uncertainty. From the ancient alleys of Jerusalem to Beirut's vibrant streets, a chilling question echoed. Would this be the spark that ignited a regional war? The Middle East, a tinderbox of historical grievances and political complexities, held its breath. Israel, anticipating retaliation, went on high alert. Troops amassed along the Gaza border, their presence a stark reminder of the potential for escalation. Across the region, governments issued travel advisories urging their citizens to leave while they still could. The echoes of past conflicts, their devastating consequences still fresh in the collective memory, fueled the growing anxiety. The world watched, praying for peace yet bracing for the storm. Section 5. A fragile peace shattered. The assassination of Haniyeh dealt a devastating blow to the already fragile Israeli-Palestinian peace process. Ceasefire negotiations, painstakingly brokered over countless sleepless nights, lay in ruins. The man who had dedicated his life to securing a future for his people, a future free from occupation and violence, was gone. His absence left a void, an emptiness that threatened to unravel years of diplomatic efforts. The attack extinguished a beacon of hope, leaving behind a sense of despair and uncertainty. The path to peace, never an easy one, now seemed insurmountable, shrouded in the shadow of violence and retribution. Section 6. The Fury of the Persian Lion. Iran, a staunch ally of Hamas and a formidable force in the region, roared with fury. The nation, known for its strategic influence and military prowess, found itself at a critical juncture. The assassination of Haniyeh, a respected figure within Iran's political circles, was a direct assault on their sovereignty, a slap in the face of the Islamic Republic. His death sent shockwaves through the nation, igniting a firestorm of emotions. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader, vowed swift and decisive vengeance. His declaration was not just a promise but a solemn oath to his people and allies. His words, laced with grief and rage, echoed through the halls of power, a chilling reminder of Iran's unwavering support for its allies. The parliament, filled with somber faces, listened intently, knowing the gravity of the situation. The Quds Force, the elite wing of Iran's Revolutionary Guards, was placed on high alert. These soldiers, trained for the most critical missions, prepared for what could be a defining moment in their careers. Their reputation preceded them, a shadowy force known for their strategic brilliance and unwavering commitment. The Quds Force had a history of executing complex operations with precision and efficiency. The region held its breath, bracing for Iran's response. In the streets of Tehran and beyond, people gathered around television screens, their faces etched with concern and anticipation. The assassination of Haniyeh had awakened a sleeping giant, and the world watched, anxious and uncertain, as the Middle East prepared for the inevitable storm. International news outlets broadcasted updates around the clock, capturing the tension that gripped the region. Military aircraft were seen preparing for takeoff, a stark reminder of the potential for escalation. The global community could only wait and watch, hoping for a resolution but preparing for the worst. Section 7. The Stars and Stripes stand firm. The United States, a steadfast ally of Israel, wasted no time in reaffirming their unwavering support. President Joe Biden, in a televised address, condemned the assassination in the strongest possible terms. However, beneath the veneer of diplomacy, a clear message resonated. Any attack on Israel would be met with swift and overwhelming force. The U.S., wary of escalating tensions, also urged restraint. Diplomatic channels buzzed with activity, desperate pleas for calm echoing across continents. The situation was precarious, a tinderbox awaiting a spark. The world watched, holding its breath, as the U.S. navigated the treacherous waters of Middle Eastern politics. Section 8. A plea for calm amidst the storm. Amidst the escalating tensions, a chorus of voices rose above the fray, pleading for peace. The United Nations, the European Union, world leaders, and influential figures across the globe called for restraint, for dialogue, for a de-escalation of hostilities. Their message was clear: violence begets violence, and only through diplomacy could a lasting peace be achieved. But their pleas seemed to fall on deaf ears. The assassination of Haniyeh had ripped open old wounds, reigniting historical grievances and fueling a cycle of hatred. The path to peace, never an easy one, now seemed insurmountable, lost in a maelstrom of anger and retribution. Section 9. The uncertain future of the Middle East. The assassination of Ismail Haniyeh marked a turning point in the already volatile Middle East. His death sent shockwaves through the region, igniting a series of events that would further destabilize an already fragile situation. The region, teetering precariously on the edge of chaos, now faced an even bleaker future. Cities that were once bustling with life now lay in ruins, and the daily lives of ordinary people were disrupted beyond recognition. The specter of war loomed large, casting a long shadow over any hopes for peace. The constant threat of violence and the presence of military forces created an atmosphere of fear and uncertainty. The fragile threads of diplomacy, painstakingly woven over decades, threatened to unravel completely. Efforts to bring about peace seemed futile as trust between nations and factions eroded. The world watched, a mixture of apprehension and helplessness in its gaze, as the Middle East braced itself for the unknown. International communities and leaders expressed concern, but their influence seemed limited in the face of such deep-rooted conflicts. Would this be the catalyst for a wider conflict, a conflagration that could engulf the entire region? The possibility of a larger war loomed, threatening to draw in neighboring countries and global powers. Or would cooler heads prevail, guiding the Middle East away from the precipice of disaster? There were still voices of reason, leaders and community figures who advocated for dialogue and reconciliation. The answers to these questions remained elusive, lost in the swirling vortex of uncertainty that had become the defining characteristic of the region. As the sands of time continued to shift, the future of the Middle East hung in the balance, a delicate equilibrium that could tip in any direction.